In this installment, we'll take a quick look at how to output a sequence of images in Maya. You've already seen how easy it is to render a frame of your work to the render view, and you already know how to save an image from the render view. But to render a sequence, such as an animation, a camera move, or whatever that animation may be, you'll want to set off what's called a batch render. First step is to open the render settings window and to set all your options correctly. First, we'll want to change from name.extension to name.number.extension so that Maya will know to put out a sequence. We'll put a frame padding of 4 to make the numbering and naming a little easier to deal with. And we'll set our start and end frame. In this animation, we have 20 frames of a simple camera move. So we'll set our end frame to 20. Now this is very important and very, very often overlooked. Make sure you want to render the camera that you want. And in this case, this is camera 1. In the render settings, make sure the renderable camera is set properly. By default, it's set to perspective, which in this case will give you the wrong render. Go ahead and select camera 1. We'll make sure our resolution is correct. 640 by 480 is fine. And then I'll go ahead and double check all the quality settings. And we have production quality set as our preset, and that's exactly what we're looking for. One more quick check in the render settings window will confirm that everything's ready to go. And now what I'll do is make sure I'm in the rendering menu set. And I'll go to the render menu and go to batch render. I'll go on the option box so it opens up and gives me the option to use as many processors as possible, or just by default it'll use all the processors available to you. Now, depending on the scene, how much stuff is going on, and how many frames you're rendering, a batch render could take several minutes to several hours. It's not advisable for you to use your system while you're rendering because it might create some resource issues on your system. However, if you must, make sure to turn off use all available processors and set the number of processing cores to fewer than your system total. For example, this machine has a quad-core CPU, so I'll set this to 2 processors to allow me some system resources to do other things on my machine. However, for best result, go ahead and use all your processors, which means while your machine is rendering, you might want to step out and go make yourself a lovely smoothie. Once I'm secure in all of my settings, I'm going to go ahead and hit batch render and close. Make sure you've saved your file and your file name and everything is all set, and go. If you click on the script editor icon, that will open up the script editor, which will give you progress reports on how your rendering is doing. As you can see, this is a pretty fast render, and it's going to zip through the 20 frames pretty quickly. Here in Windows Explorer, we can see the frames popping up one by one as they complete. Once the rendering is complete, you'll have your full images in the Projects Images folder. It's very important to name your scene properly and to set your project before you set off a render, if you haven't already set your project. In the Images folder for your project, you'll see your files and you'll be able to show them around and impress all your friends. In this video, we learned how to set off a batch render to write out a sequence of files to images so you can share your animations with everybody.